So my name's Carlos. I am co-founder of the Happy Startup School. What we do is we help entrepreneurs build purpose-driven businesses. Our mission is to essentially help people find their role and purpose in the world before it's too late. Some of that is just building businesses. Some of that is actually doing the businesses they're already doing better or working the way they are working better. For us, it's the reason why we went into business originally. It was trying to basically do stuff we love, enjoy going into work, and enjoying being with the people we were working with. And it's also looking at how business can be a force for good rather than just making money. Lawrence and I, that's Lawrence, that's me. We've known each other since we were about 7. So we go back a long, long way. Neither of us were really born entrepreneurs. We didn't exit our mother's wombs as perfectly formed Alan Sugars looking to make money as soon as we learned to walk. We're just normal kids, normal suburban life, went to uni, went to work, and got to a point where we thought, actually, we don't like the way we are working in the places that we are working. We don't necessarily like the people we're working with, and we can probably do this job better ourselves if we just got together. Now, Lawrence was a designer. I was a kind of a programmer, geeky web person. We thought complementary skills, let's start our own agency, and let's do it because we just love the work rather than because we're going to make loads of money. And it was what people would call a lifestyle business. I think it was just a business that suited the style of life that we wanted to live. And we did that for about 10 years. This is the gang. And that essentially was a startup studio by the sea. Last 5 years, we were working a lot with entrepreneurs and startups, helping them build up their digital dreams. And the key for what why we did the things we wanted to do was it's trying to make things people want, trying to create value. We were makers, not marketeers. Rather than trying to sell any old crap to people, it's like, what is it that they really need and how can we make that and bring that into the world? And the other thing is, like, what was our need? Our need was really sitting on a beach, as you do in Brighton, chilling out a few years ago, trying to work out what our values, what is it that motivated us to go into work? How could we distill that into something that actually gave us a purpose for being a business? And for us, it ended up being optimizing for happiness. And now that sounds a bit self-indulgent. You're just chilling out, being happy and content. Really, it was about how can we make ourselves happy by fulfilling the needs that we had for work? How can we make our employees and the people we work with happy by also fulfilling their needs? And in doing that, hopefully fulfilling the needs of our clients and making them happy. And about the same time, while we were working through startups, we were reading these 2 books that kind of cemented our thinking, what we're doing. One is called The Lean Startup. This is essentially a manual for building businesses in the 21st century in an age of uncertainty, building new businesses where there's no pre-existing business model. How can you do that? How can you reduce the risk of doing that? And the other book was Delivering Happiness, which is a book by a guy called Tony Hsieh. He's a CEO of a company called Zappos. I'm not sure. At this stage, I start asking you, have you read this book? But it just gets a bit boring. Anyway, this book was really interesting for us because his whole thesis was about how company culture and creating a really great working environment actually helps the bottom line. For him, it's like, how do you make happiness a business model? And that really resonated with us because when we went into business, all we ever thought about was this whole thing of like corporate structures and the legals. And when we started, we had this guy from Business Link come down and start doing business plans, and we turned off and we were bored. It was all about B2B, B2C, all these acronyms, things that did not inspire us. We wanted to make stuff. We didn't necessarily want to sell stuff, which isn't great if you want to go into business. So, but for us, ultimately, it wasn't really all this stuff. It was kind of like, how do we connect with the people we want to work for? Because when I was in a big agency, Lawrence worked freelance a lot with agencies, you rarely talked to the client. It was always through a kind of a barrier of an account manager or a project manager. And so you never really knew the impact of your work on that person, and you never really knew exactly the feedback that they were giving. It was always translated through a layer of bureaucracy. And for us, we wanted to be more connected to the people we worked with, more connected to the people we serve, because then at least we know what they really, really want. And also, it felt good for us. We felt like, actually, we're doing something and it's changing their lives, or it's making their world better. And in this world of globalization and big data and being able to analyze everything you ever do on the internet and be able to deliver you all sorts of things based on that information, I think businesses are getting more detached from the customers they serve. They're just looking at the numbers. And so we're dehumanizing the people we're actually trying to deliver value to. And I think the further you get away from the people you're actually trying to sell to, the less you're going to actually deliver any value, because you don't really know what they want. And you're just sort of hoping the numbers will tell you what's going on. And this, for me, him is this one of the main images of business that really just made me recoil from this whole idea of building a big business. I was listening to the radio this morning, and it was really depressing. It was Radio 4. That shows my kind of mentality. And it was, they were talking about how you get work-life balance, women in business. And there was this guy on there talking about, actually, business is about getting results, yeah? You don't have to be super educated. It's about working hard, and it's about making sure you deliver shareholder value. Now, I admit, working hard, good. No, that's true. It makes sense. You can't just wing this stuff and expect money to flow through. And he seemed to be making sense until he started going on about, I went through several marriages making sure that I made these businesses work. It's like, wait there, what is that? That doesn't sound great. It's like, I understand the need for sacrifice and I understand the need for working hard. But if you start removing sort of human values from your business and the way you work, and it just ends up being about profits, then I think life is bleak. And there should be a better way of doing business, which is much more human focused, much more, and it's beneficial, of course, for the customers and the people you're serving. But I also think it's going to be beneficial for the business itself. And as businesses in the 21st century, we've got to start moving up this. Anybody know Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Yeah? Fundamental. You could not live anywhere without Wi-Fi or 3G or 4G. But yeah, we've gone through different stages, different types of economy. I'm reading a book at the moment called The Purpose Economy, and the guy, Aaron Hurst, talks about we've gone through the agrarian economy, where we're living off the land, we've sort of formalized farms and we started making food. Then you go through the industrial economy, where it's all about mechanization and automation and scale. And then with information economy, where now it's all about how you use knowledge to actually increase and create value. Now we're at the stage, he argues, of the purpose economy. And we've gone up this hierarchy in terms of business. And I see, Twitter and Facebook, sense of belonging. But self-actualization, having a sense of purpose, doing things for reasons beyond your own self-gratification. And it isn't just about accumulation of stuff, not about materialism. There's another book by a guy called James Woolman called Stuffication. Anybody read this book? Really interesting. He talks about moving from being materialists to experientialists, I like this, experiences live longer than things. We should be thinking about stuff that actually enhances our experiences and connection to nature, but also connection to other people. And that's the stuff that's going to stay with us longer. So for us, going next, going into business, and this is something we instinctively did, so I'm kind of post-rationalizing now because I've read a lot of books. But it's about building businesses that actually fulfill your own personal needs while at the same time fulfilling the needs of your customers and the employees around you. And I think also that makes sense for business because what it does is it gives other people a sense of reason why they should be your customer, why they should be actually working with you or working for you. Has anybody read this book, Start With Why? Really interesting. It's a very powerful message in terms of people don't buy the thing or how you do the thing. They buy why you do the thing. What is it that motivates you to do the job you're doing and what it is that's broader than making profits? And that's what people really sort of follow and engage with. And there's been studies about how purpose actually is helping businesses grow. And it isn't purely based on just optimizing and reducing costs and sort of maximizing efficiency. It's also how can you give meaning to the businesses that you're actually creating. And there are businesses that are perfect examples and doing really well at this. Because it isn't just about this hockey stick growth, which everyone in the startup world seems to be looking at. It's actually how can you do that and be happy at the same time? Yeah? How can you generate a business that provides for yourself and provides for the people who you work for you, but at the same time you enjoy the ride and not get caught into this whole rat race of trying to achieve the impossible and essentially go through several marriages in the same time. And we talk about the Happy Startup School, this kind of entrepreneur's happy place. Yeah? What you want to do is you want to do basically stuff you love to do with the skills that the skills you have, but actually hopefully there's stuff that people want. And if you've got that, then I think that's a great business or a great livelihood. You're actually living in flow. And one of the things that we did to try and encapsulate that, in the sort of lean startup world, everyone has a canvas, basically. It's a one-page silver bullet that tells you how your business should work. So we did our own. This is all the mechanics of it, problems, solutions, customers, blah, blah, blah. What was important for us, which was missing from a lot of things that we read, is actually what is the purpose and vision of the thing that you're trying to do? Why are you trying to do what you're doing? What are the values that you hold dear that are going to help you decide and make those big decisions? The things that are actually going to be your compass points when there is some big question that you have to answer and you don't have to fall back on, does it make me more profit? And then stories. People forget features and benefits, but they always remember stories, especially if they're engaging ones, they're personal ones, and they're authentic. And for us, that's really important. So using that sort of approach kind of, for us, describes this path from passion to profits. Basically, you have passionate entrepreneurs, founders, people who want to change the world. They define a purpose, the thing that really drives them and motivates them. And through that, they actually gather a group of people around them that creates a culture of unity and aligned values. People who work in those kind of environments, they're more engaged. They really want to work hard and serve the people they want to, the customers that they're serving. Customers who serve well are loyal customers. Loyal customers spend more regularly. That's profits. So very simple path to being rich. But what we're trying to do, though, is balancing it. So you've got to try and balance passion and profits. Trying to balance that thing of actually doing something you love, but also you need to make a sustainable business. And that's always a tricky thing. It isn't easy, but I think that's the only way if you want to actually do a job that you are going to enjoy for the rest of your life. And so it's not also just about a personal journey, it's also about how you can gather people together. One of the reasons for this event is how can we gather like-minded people but with very different experiences, and what does that do for us? Because we live in this, has anyone heard of the term of VUCA? Basically, it's a word, we live in a world of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Ooh, there we go. A bit ambiguous, that one. The world we live in is a very fast pace. It's very interconnected, and no one person has the answers. Yeah. So to combat that, what we really need to do is start thinking about our visions for the future. We've got to have greater understanding of the world around us and the people around us. We want to be able to collaborate more, because everyone, the collective wisdom in this room could probably solve many, many problems. And it's how we can actually harness that information, harness those connections to be able to then create these solutions. And agility. Big monolithic businesses are dying. These dinosaurs that are very slow to move and adapt to the changing environment are not going to survive over the next 50 years, I believe. I think the internet and the technology that we have at the moment that allows us to connect at a very individual level means we don't need to be part of one organization. This whole word multi-potentialite for me is like, we all have probably different kind of careers and potentials within us over our lifespan. Some of us might live to 100, yeah? That's a lot of time. So there's probably a lot of things that we'll want to do over that time, and there's probably different connections and different collaborations that hopefully we can make. And yeah, collaboration is the key. I think by being able to work together, we'll probably be able to solve a lot of the problems that seem to be facing us. But to be able to work together, we've got to work with a bit of compassion and understanding. We want to make sure everyone benefits from this journey, rather than just relying on competition and on ourselves. And through, I think, that kind of idea of compassion and collaboration, we'll be a lot more creative. And we'll be able to actually think out of the box, whatever that means. But to do that, we need to be around like-minded people. I was at a talk this morning at the RSA with a couple of guys who wrote in the book, and talking about how you start an idea or start a business. And a lot of the time, you're surrounded by people who are naysayers, friends and family a lot of the time, because they're in jobs that they want to do, and you want to do something different. And I say, oh, you can't do that, and it's going to be really difficult, and why would you want to quit your job, and you've got your mortgage, and you've got your kids. And he says, sometimes when you're in that environment, you've got to find your own tribe. You've got to find a different tribe, because those are the people who are going to give you the energy to do something different, and actually get out and actually make something out there that is yours and hopefully is going to have a positive impact. And it isn't just about money. It's about finding your own measure of success. And for me, it's being able to get home every night and put my kids to bed, and to be able to support my wife in her career. And maybe that's going to slow down how fast my business grows, but I think that sort of addresses me more holistically than just trying to pursue the money. So that's me, and that's the Happy Startup School.